What would you do if you knew that your sister was living an alternate lifestyle and you knew that she was secretly a homewrecker and she was ruining actively right now somebody else's marriage? Would you just sit back and relax and pretend like you don't know anything and wait for her to make the first mistake? Or would you go out there and let everyone know? Or would you just tell everybody at a Thanksgiving dinner that's about to come up really quickly?
Hey guys, I'm June, and I'm in a bit of a dilemma because of my parents, especially my mom, but it's not like Dad is particularly helping me here either. And my sister, like always, is only making the situation worse. So if you have some time, please go through this post and let me know what should I do. Don't worry, this will not be a waste of time, as I will try to keep this as brief as possible. So I'm going to be talking mostly about my mom, Kat, and my sister, Crystal, and my fiance, Kurt. So let me start by telling you how me and my sister were raised. I love Crystal, but we have a very rocky relationship, and how we grew up, I'll explain why. So, growing up, I was a pretty normal kid. I had nothing special about me or any interest that made me different than the rest. My sister, though, actually was a bit different. See, she was a lot smarter than other kids her age, and she could have easily used this to become a successful person, but she tried to do something else with it. I understood the value of working hard, and I thank my lucky stars that things did not, come very easy to me. I had to work hard, much harder than others, but it also taught me that hard work can help you achieve anything. Growing up, I got that habit of working hard drilled into me. So I tackled everything in my life with the same mentality. My younger sister, Crystal, being smart, started looking for easier ways and shortcuts. Honestly, even I'll admit that working smart is a lot better than working hard. But you need to work hard to properly work smart. See, many people forget this, and that small thing makes a huge difference. Since Crystal was younger, my parents really pampered her and almost never punished her or scolded her. Enabling. Honestly, I'm not really going to blame them for this, because they did not punish me much either. But I did not do things that warranted punishment, But my parents did spoil her a little too much, and it's clear to me that without them letting her off easy every time, my sister would definitely not be where she's at now. But it's not like she's ever listened to anyone anywho. Crystal only did what Crystal felt was right. Since she was a young teenager, she's been incredibly selfish. Being her older sister, I did try to teach her to do things the right way, but she just tells me that I'm jealous and that she could beat the system and cheat and stuff like that. I had to work hard. There was only so much that I could do, as she always refused to listen. It's not like our parents were any better. Even when we were children, our parents were lazy and always looked for easy money. So, Crystal also wanted to live an easy life where she would never have to work hard. I'll be fully honest, nobody wants to work and most people want to live a happy, easy life. But to get to it, you have to work hard. My parents understood that, but my sister just never picked that up from them. So I worked hard and built a moderately good life for myself, while my sister jumped from boyfriend to boyfriend, who supported her financially. Believe me, I begged her several times to not drop out of college, but she told me that it was not in her fate to work mindlessly. She wanted to be different. Our parents supported her like always and did not listen to what I was saying. I worked very hard after college, and now I have a pretty stable life. As I already mentioned, I'm engaged to a good man, and I even look after my parents financially. As soon as I started earning a good amount, Mom quit her job, and soon after Dad followed. They had some savings, but I still needed to cover a lot of their bills, which I didn't really mind. They brought me to where I'm at now, so there was no reason for me to not take good care of them. I just wish that they could also depend on my sister like they depend on me. I say that because if our parents had acted a bit differently, currently, my sister would not be a mistress to a rich businessman who married and has kids. I hate that she's doing this, but talking to her is only a waste of time. I've asked her to stop several times, and this has only caused arguments and made our relationship worse. We barely talk now. You know the funny thing? Our parents pretended they know nothing about this and refused to talk about it. So they do dislike what she's doing, but don't want to not support her for some reason. I guess you can call my parents super progressive. Now, let me tell you what the real problem is. As I mentioned, both my parents did not work and depend on me to pay their bills. Well, for the past several months, their demands have only increased. I don't want to think like this, but I believe they think that now that I'm engaged to my fiance Kurt, who also earns well, I'll have double the money or something. No matter what, for the past 2 months, they've been asking for more and more money. And I've been, trying my best to make their needs met. I'm not gonna lie. I do earn a good amount of money, and currently I'm giving them a good chunk of it, which is enough for them to live happy. About 2 months ago, I tell them that I cannot get them more money than the amount that I'm giving them now, and even explained why I did what I did with the rest of the money. My parents were a bit disappointed and did not speak to me for a few days, but then they called me and told me I didn't have to pay them anymore, no more money, and just needed to only do one thing for them. So I happily asked them, okay, well, what is it? Only to be shocked when they asked me to buy them a new home. They don't live on rent or anything, they have a good house. It's the house Grandpa left for Dad, and I first didn't believe it because I found it absurd that they would ask me to do something like this. But when Mom repeated it, I immediately told her no. They told me that I could afford it after saving a little, and told me that I could pay the mortgage for it. I told them it was not possible, as I had a lot to take care of next year. I have a wedding coming up, and I did not tell them this. But both my fiance Kurt and me have been saving to buy a house of our own. I did not tell them this because I knew they would freak out if they knew that I had money to buy a home. My parents kept trying to convince me, and when they could not, they got mad and told me that I was being a bad daughter to them. So when I argued, they cut the call and refused to answer my text. I also got annoyed and stopped trying to contact my mother for a few weeks. Then Kurt, the kindest human being on the planet, convinced me that my parents were only being a little unreasonable and that they had every right to ask me to buy them a home. So he asked me to call and try to make it up to them. I then called, and the first thing Mom asked was if I decided to do what they were asking. Guys, I genuinely tried to explain to her that it's not possible for me to buy a house at this moment, and maybe in a few years I could try for it, but this only made her mad. She tells me that she wants me to buy them a house this year, as they were tired of living in the same old. I told her that didn't make a lick of sense, but she refused to listen to me and kept nagging. Believe me, I genuinely told Mom that I had a lot on my plate, and that in a few years I could try, but she did not care about that. She wanted me to buy them a house now, like it was buying a piece of cake. Me and my fiance had been trying for almost 2 years, and we were finally close to buying a house, and I don't know who told her that I could just buy a house with a snap of a finger. And when she kept refusing to understand, I just cut the call and hoped that in time she would be going to understand. Even my sister called me and told me that I was being selfish, like I was taking away their money or something, and I told her to mind her own beeswax. She starts telling me that I was good for nothing. I didn't want to argue with her either, so I just cut the call and did not respond to her messages. Then almost a month went by peacefully. A few days ago, my father called me and asked me when I would be coming home for Thanksgiving. Well, I was so busy that I forgot that Thanksgiving is coming in a few days. Dad and Mom told me that this time they wanted me to bring my fiance with me for dinner, and my sister would be there too. I told them that I was going to let them know in a few days, and it would be able to, make it, maybe, and I have been in a dilemma since. I know that my parents are only going to use this opportunity to emotionally manipulate me in front of my fiance. They think that they have a chance of convincing me face to face, and when it doesn't happen, the dinner is going to turn ugly. I don't want to make my fiance go through that, or make myself go through that. So I wanted to cancel. But my fiance thinks that we should not do that, and we should go. He believes that I should not sacrifice my time with family because of this argument and thinks that I'll regret it if I don't go. So guys, tell me, what do I do? Should I give in to my parents, a chance and just go visit? Or should I stay at home? What's up, everybody? We have 2 comments to check out, but let me know what you would do. Would you stay home or would you go to that Thanksgiving dinner? Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you drop a subscribe. Down below, just one little click. That way you never miss an upcoming story. Let's check out the first comment from Coffee Biscuit number 2. OP, I think your fiance is right, you should go. The greed from the parents aside, they would not invite you to emotionally manipulate you into agreeing. Thanksgiving is a time for family and not silly fights like this. Plus, even if they ask, you can just say that it's going to take a lot of your time to buy them a house and that they're going to have to think about it and talk about it next year. It's really not a big enough deal for you to skip a family dinner with your parents and sister. Nobody's family is perfect, but the real family is one who can overlook your flaws and care about you no matter what. You should not think about the problems and enjoy some time with your family. Comment number 2 from Saffron Coder. If you have such a problem with them, why don't you cut them off? But you can't, so that means you care about them or something. Then what is the dilemma even about? OP, this is very simple. If you can tolerate your parents for a while, then go. But if you can't even do that, you should not be in contact with them. Duh. You act like the parents have asked for your heart or your kidney. They just want to upgrade their house. Instead of doing this, you could have just talked to them like a normal person and explained the situation. They depend on you, and looking at your sister, they believe that you're the one who can do something like this for them. That's why they asked you. They're not wrong in asking. They have a right to ask you as they raised you. Hello? Update number 1. Hey guys. It's been a few days since my last update and we ended up going to the family dinner. I wish I could say everything went well, but things went the opposite of well and blew up. I wish I would have listened to myself and not gone to this dinner like I originally wanted. Let me explain in detail what happened. So, as you guys know, I was in a pickle about whether I should go to the Thanksgiving dinner or not. My fiance thought, hey, we should go, while I thought not going was a better option. After about a week, I saw a lot of you guys telling me that ignoring my family was not worth it, and I decided to trust everyone else. What I was worried about was that they would use this opportunity to just emotionally manipulate me in front of my fiance. They would try to make me feel bad so that I change my decision and give them the house that they want. But obviously there's no way any kind of manipulation would work, as there was no way that I could buy them a house no matter what. Because almost everyone else believed that I should go to the dinner and my fiance also wanted to go. So I ended up making the decision. My fiance told me there was no way they would try anything after inviting them to, and asked me to forget about the arguments and enjoy time with family. So I also decided to trust my family to be mature enough to not do anything stupid. But I guess I was asking a bit too much. Honestly, it's my fault. I knew the kind of family I had and still decided that they might have changed in the span of weeks. I called Mom and told her that we were free, and she was very happy. She did not mention the house or anything, which gave me false hope. The night of Thanksgiving, we reached home early so that I could help Mom out with, some small things. My sister was already there, and I had a sneaking suspicion that this was a trap and that they were waiting to jump me. But I decided to let it go and just believe that my family would let me enjoy a nice dinner at least. They didn't say anything until we started eating and then did not stop. Mom starts first by asking me what I've decided about the house. I almost choked. I calmly said that we could talk about this later, as I did not want to argue with family on this day. She tells me that we were not going to argue. So I told her, my answer is the same. I can't buy them a house, and then Mom, Dad, and Crystal start to try to emotionally manipulate me into doing what they wanted. It was embarrassing, and my fiancé had no idea what to do. He was just staring at me with a weird look, and I got tired of their games and told all of them that this was not happening no matter what. They could drag the ghost of my grandpa here, and I was still not gonna agree. This made them even more mad, and then she surprised me. She told me that she knew that I was buying a house for myself, and that I could just buy them the house instead. That way, everyone would win. I first gave my sister a mad look because I was sure she found out from somewhere and someone told Mom, and then I said that it wasn't happening. I don't want their old house in exchange for my new one. I didn't want to move in here and wanted to have a new house for ourselves after marriage. Our conversation turned into an argument, and as I was about to suggest we leave, my sister spoke. She tried to insult me, saying how bad of a daughter I was and how selfish I was, and that I wanted them to stay in this dump while I moved into a mansion. Yeah. She said if she were mom, she would regret giving birth to me. This made me so mad, so bad so that I ended up unloading on her. I told her that she was the last person who could tell me that. She had never helped my parents and had not even earned $1 by herself. I told her she does not even deserve to speak because she's almost nothing more than just a worker of whatever father needs, as she trades going with other men for financial gain. I also told her that I knew who she was sleeping with and currently, and how she did it knowing that he had a wife and kids at home. I told her she was the worst kind of person, and even though my parents did not admit it, they regretted giving birth to her. They would rather have another person like me who helps them. After that, Crystal starts to cry, and my parents start to scream at me for what I've done. They then kicked me out and my fiance out, and we went home. I'll be fully clear, I know I crossed a line, but I don't think that I did something so wrong. My sister was insulting me, and I just told her the truth. Nothing else. My fiance feels it was a bit too much, and I hurt her really badly, but I don't think so. What do you guys think? Update number 2. Hey guys, it's only been a few days, and yesterday my parents forced me to come home and apologize to my sister, and it only made things worse. Who could have imagined that trying to forcefully make me buy a house and apologize would not work and would only make me mad? Well, not my parents. So immediately the next day, Mom texted me and tells me that my sister was really mad and demanding an apology. I ignored her text and refused to take her calls for the day, as I did not want anything to do with my sister or them for a while. All they could do was focus on my sister, but they acted like I had no reason to get mad. My sister had dug around and found out that I was buying a home with my fiance and gave this news to my parents. You know, she did this knowing that it would put me in a lot of trouble and that they would just try to even harder now, as they knew that I had the capability of buying a home. This already made me mad, and on top of that, she was trying to insult me. So I told her the truth. I don't think I did anything wrong. Even now, I don't think I did anything wrong, and I feel that my sister should have stayed out of all this and that she deserved it. After that, my parents kept trying to call me to make me feel bad about what I did, but I kept ignoring it. But I could not keep doing it, as I had to stand up and face the consequences of the actions. I felt that I did nothing wrong, so why did I need to ignore and hide? So I answered when my mom called me next. When I picked up the phone, Mom told me that sister was demanding I come home and apologize to her and that she wasn't eating any food. They were very concerned and wanted me to immediately come home and do as they said. I told them that there's no way I was ever going to come home and do what they wanted. Then my parents surprised me by threatening me with something that just makes me mad. Both of them tell me that if I kept declining and refused to apologize, then they would not come to my wedding no matter how much I beg. I could not believe that they were doing this. I asked Dad if he was really going to not be at my wedding, and he told me that if I did not apologize, I would have to walk down that aisle alone. I then decided to do something drastic. I told them that I realized my mistake now and that I was coming to them. They called my sister home, and yesterday I went. I told my fiancé that I had some work there and was going to try to make up with them, and I did not tell him the truth because I did not want to have him try to stop me. So I went home and found my parents and sister waiting for me. Sister was asking where my fiancé was and told me that she wanted me to apologize in front of him too, as I had insulted her with him present. But before she could say anything else, I told her that I had done nothing wrong. I told her that I had called her somebody who does favors for other people for money, which was true. She was a horrible person who did this stuff with people for money, and I hated that I was related to her. I hated that I cared about a shallow person like that, a person who did not respect marriage and commitment. I called her a leech who did not deserve even a bit of respect, and if our parents had tried harder, she would have become a person everybody would respect. She starts to cry, and before I could say another word, my mother slapped me and told me to never show my face at this house again. I told her I didn't want to anyways. So that's about it. I think now they're just gonna leave me alone. Yes, it was harsh to my sister, and even I do feel bad about it, but she needed a reality check. She's not doing something that is subjectively wrong. It's objectively the wrong thing to do. She's a bad person. And the sooner she changes, the better. I hope I don't have to write an update again, but if I do, I hope it's about my marriage. Update number 3. It's been a few months, and yes, this is the final update. Don't forget to subscribe. Hey guys, it's been a few months since my last update, and no, we are not married. This is about something else. A lot's gone down, so I will just start from where I left off. After what happened, I told my fiance what I did, and he was pretty upset with everything. He did not like the fact that I went there and doubled down on my sister, and he especially hated that my mom hit me. See, as I've already probably mentioned, Kurt is a very kind guy, and he believed that I should have made peace with my family. I told him that I was not going to back down now. I'm so happy that I did not try to make peace because not even 2 weeks later, my sister and parents tried something. So randomly one day, Kurt came back from his job and was pretty upset. He told me that a guy had just approached him and tried to convince him that I was cheating, and he got mad at him. Honestly, I'm so happy that I have such a good fiancé who does not trust anyone but me when it comes to our relationship. He described the guy to me, and I recognized it was one of my ex-boy toys. Kurt said that he approached him and told him that I've been cheating on him and he had evidence. But Kurt refused to listen and came home, basically running. I knew that the guy he was talking about was Jason, who had recently gotten married, so why was he doing this? Was the question in my head. So I directly went to his house and, told him I'm going to tell his wife when he tried to do this to my relationship, and he apologized. And with a little bit of coercion, he told me that it was my sister and my parents who had paid him to do this and break us up. He didn't know much, but they were talking about how everyone's life would be better without Kurt. I didn't hide anything and told Kurt what happened, and he was very upset. I'd never seen him like this. When I asked him if I should do something about this, he tells me to go ahead. I decide to give my sister a taste of her own medicine. I tailed her for 2 weeks, got photos of her with rich businessmen that she dated, and the photos were obviously evidence enough. But I also got video proof. They were literally walking into hotels in town. I knew where my sister went, so finding them was easy. After this, I just sent the evidence to the wife of the businessman and some local writers who published about the affair and gossip, obviously. It was funny seeing my sister in the middle of all of it. I think the divorce between the businessman and his wife is still ongoing. But anywho, he dumped her, and this led to her losing everything that he'd given her. From gifts to money, and she had to move in with my parents. The situation actually became a big deal. Photos went quite viral. I told my sister I'm the one who did this. And when my parents called me to probably scream at me, I told them I'm cutting them off and blocking them today. Today's the day. They didn't try to contact me for 2 months. Then a few days ago, out of the blue, my parents came to see me. They tell me that they miss me and want me to financially help them. I told them, can't you tell I'm done? They begged me for help, and they also had my sister to look after, but I told them that I was done helping them, and they need to make my sister work for them if they wanted something. I've officially cut ties with my family, and we're very close to buying the house of our dreams. Also, the wedding is just in a few months now. I guess I'm going to have to walk down that aisle alone. I don't mind because my parents did not leave me any choice. I'm done with them and will never ever help them again. Lastly, thank you for sticking around. It helped a lot. Comment number 1 says, I understand how you feel, OP, but your parents should have thought about the consequences before trying to break your engagement. They did not even think twice about it, so why should you? The funny thing is, you had not even done anything wrong, but the parents acted like you did this to your sister. You told her what was true and everything you said was accurate. She just couldn't handle the truth. I can't stand people like that who cannot see themselves for who they are. Usually, a person in your sister's position is well aware of what they're doing and does not take offense when anyone doesn't like it. But your sister is different. Honestly, she's more than anyone deserving for what she got. Going around breaking homes, that's a serious thing. Comment number 2 from Nimble King. Stop patting yourself on the back, OP. Hold up. You're acting like you're unhappy with what happened. You knew exactly what you were doing. Your parents had become a burden, and you used this to cut them off without making yourself look bad. And you've always not liked your sister, so destroying her life was a big plus, wasn't it? Ugh, it was horrible what your sister did. But what you did to her? OP, I understand, what she tried to do, but you're different than her. How could you do this? And what did you expect to happen when you cut off your parents? Obviously, they suffered. They depended on your support. You should be ashamed of what you did.